Welcome to Truckee Talks. I'm your host, Maya Schneider. And on today's show, we have the guests, East West Partners, a relatively new partner here in town, and we're here to talk about all the development they have planned. With us from East West Partners is Roger Lessman.
Hi, Maya.
Welcome to the show, Roger.
Thank you for having us.
Or I should say welcome back. This is not your first time
right.
in our studios.
Thank you
It's
very
nice
much.
to have you here. Roger, before we go into the various development that you're looking at in our community, let's start with some of the history. Who is East West Partners?
Sure. You bet. The company's been around about 19, 20 years, somewhere in that time frame. We've talked about it 18 or 19, but we keep forgetting that we're adding on a year from now and again. Company got started, their organization got started in Beaver Creek back in the mid-'80s. Harry Frampton, who was the president of Vail Associates in those days, was in the process of leaving the company, and through that process, several guys left with him that were primarily real estate development people, and they acquired some real estate within Beaver Creek and began to develop, and that kind of grew out of that. We've done a lot of work in Beaver Creek. Probably 65% of all the development in Beaver Creek has been done by East West Partners as an entity. When you roll in the fact that a number of us were involved with Vail Associates prior to our East West involvement, probably 80–85% of everything in Beaver Creek has been touched by us in some form or another. So it's kind of our trademark, if you will. We have done a lot of other work around Colorado. In Breckenridge, we have several large projects going on presently. We did a project in Eagle, Colorado, where I was at before I came out here, that interestingly enough is about a half-scale PC2 project. Similar kinds of development mix. Golf course acreage is about half the size of what we had in Eagle. We also have done a little bit of work in Keystone, primarily in the resort areas. And then about 3 years ago, we got involved in downtown Denver, and we were invited to come down and take a look at a piece of property in downtown Denver. And I think right now we're the largest landowner of undeveloped property in downtown Denver. We own some 30-some acres, 32, 33 acres right now.
In the middle of Denver?
In the middle of downtown Denver, and we've worked with the town or with the city of Denver very closely they've redeveloped a park along the Platte River that's just absolutely wonderful, and the Platte River itself has been kind of rehabbed for its kayakers and things of that sort in downtown Denver. And so our project is sandwiched between the 16th Street Mall in downtown Denver, Lodo, the lower downtown area, and the park area. And it's a very unique, very, very nice project for downtown. People that live in the community can now, or I'm sorry, work downtown can now live downtown, and you know, has a lot of interesting aspects to it. We also have a number of other businesses that we're in that are all kind of driven around our development business, which is the core of the thing that we do. But we have a transportation company. A lot of you that may have flown in and out of DIA that go to the resort areas, the vast majority of the vans down there are owned by East West Partners. Colorado Mountain Express, Resort Mountain Express. We have some 300–400 vans on an annual basis that carry people back and forth the mountains. We also have a very large brokerage operation in the Eagle Valley. And we have a little bit of a new business that we're getting into, a little bit of the IT business. In our communities that we develop, we found a shortage of high-speed internet access, which is a necessary part of any community today, along with good quality TV service and phone service. And we've got a state-of-the-art system that we put in Eagle Ranch that's a pilot, which we hope to be able to bring out here, that's a fiber optic system that integrates CATV phone and high-speed internet access for all of our community in Eagle, and it connects with the school system. And so you can get grade cards and things of that sort at home rather than a wadded up piece of paper in the bottom of a knapsack. We're still working on that piece of it, but we hope to have some of that stuff in place over the next few years. And we're also in the property management business. We have a fairly large property management company that operates outside of Colorado, has some back in the Hilton Head area, some in the Northern Rockies, and quite a bit of it in Colorado, where we actually manage some of the property that we have developed over a period of time.
Well, look out, AOL Time Warner.
Oh, no, I think not.
It sounds impressive. It sounds large anyway. Folks in Truckee have started to see your name, certainly started to see more involvement in our community, and starting to see some of the different land acquisitions that you've taken on. How would you describe the culture of your company? And then why Truckee? Why now?
Well, let me answer the first question, because that's probably the one that's easiest to answer. I think, as most people know, we're a partner with Booth Creek, the owners of Northstar, at Northstar, to develop the remaining real estate at the area. We came here with that as our sole purpose in mind, and we were focused on that. As we begin to look around the community, we needed some other things to supplement the development at Northstar. This business has changed since Northstar was approved in terms of being not just ski-related business anymore, but more of a year-round destination resort business. And we saw an opportunity here that I would hope that the town of Truckee and the surrounding community can benefit from by integrating a number of these other acquisitions into the overall picture so that the whole community benefits from the tourist business here rather than just Northstar. And that's, I think that's a fallout benefit of what we're trying to do. So of course we went on and acquired the old PC2 property, which we're tentatively calling the Woodlands. As you probably know, I think most people in the community know that was a very contentious project for a number of years in the town because of several elements of it, one of it being the amount of commercial space that was out there that was proposed by the previous owner. It was a very large amount and potentially had impacts to downtown Truckee, which very honestly we think is pretty cool and want to see preserved and enhanced if we can help with that. So when we looked at the land plan, we really didn't find a place for that amount of commercial space out there. So we're proposing to drop from 175,000 to 25,000, which just becomes a neighborhood shopping center. The little triangular piece that's very visual when you go just across
the piece that's now cut off.
Yes, but cut off by the freeway. Very visual, and I think originally that was proposed for a fairly significant amount of commercial space. Likewise, we're concerned about the visuals of that, and quite frankly, the impact on the development behind it, which is what we're mostly interested in. So we're suggesting that that piece be set aside for the time being and not discussed for development purposes. We would not be in favor of any major commercial development on that. We'd like to engage some dialogue with the community as to what that ought to be. If the conclusion is it's never developed, fine. If there's a public need or public use for that piece, that's okay too. We'll make that available in some form or another. So we're back ready to go within, I want to say, a week or 2 weeks back to the town. We've been working with the staff. They're aware of the plans, and we hope to be able to engage and complete the EIR that was started when we acquired the property.
So you're looking sometime in August maybe to reinitiate the public process?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're hopefully within days of being able to get back to the town with formal submittal of the revised plans and things of that sort. And we have talked to a number of people in the community, yourself, a number of other councilmen, a number of other business people in town, as well as various interested groups in town about the plans. And I think there's some recognition that this is maybe something that would work for the community as a whole. And then, of course,
all of the planned, there are 3 planned communities in Truckee's general plan,
right,
and all of them require a fairly significant amount of public involvement and public scrutiny.
Absolutely, and we're very anxious to get into that process and listen to what the reaction might be from the town of Truckee on those plans. And then, of course, we've acquired through the obvious connection between an adjacent landowner, Ken Hoffman, who owned the Featherstone property, which we're now proposing to call, I think, the Woodlands. The other one was Meadowbrook. I think I misspoke a minute ago. But likewise, one of the things that intrigued us about that property is the potential for some more recreation out there, i.e. specifically golf. There's some other recreational things that we'd like to see enhanced out of that area. One of the things that concerned us about the development in terms of what was approved was the amount of the same type of residential units out there. And as you probably know, there were 232 single-family fractional ownership cabins, all basically the same. That's a huge quantity when you multiply the interval time, the number of units that were approved out there to sell and market. We think there's a huge risk in that quantity. So we're going to go back with the town to try to adjust the mix of that, to have maybe some whole ownership lots mixed in with some single-family fractional cabins, along with some multi-family fractional product, which are more townhome condominium type products. So we get a real nice mix and a blend. Becomes more of a community, for transient people and things of that sort that might be candidates for a vacation club.
Now, let me ask you quickly about that project. The Featherstone project, when it was originally brought before town, had what I would say nominal opposition. There were Mountain Area Preservation Foundation worked with that developer to try to get some of the issues resolved that they had concerns with. And when it finally came to the Planning Commission, I believe it came with the blessing of Mountain Area Preservation Foundation. You're talking about some significant changes, and are you still working with community groups on that?
Yeah. The answer to the last question is yes, we are, and we want to continue that process. Since the project was approved originally, there was another 300-acre piece that was bought by the previous owner became a part of that project, a southerly 300-acre piece that is zoned for recreational uses.
Closer to Glenshire Drive.
Closer to Glenshire Drive, right. And that's the piece that needs to be basically melded or folded into the rest of the development. One of the things that's been suggested is that there's a northerly 300-acre piece that's a triangular piece on the north side of I-80 next to the Prosser Village interchange that had a 10-year no development agreement on it. It's been suggested that perhaps that ought to be looked at into perpetuity moratorium, and we're certainly willing to entertain that. We have no plans for development of that, and if that's it becomes a kind of a it could be in a land trust or some kind of restriction to prevent it from ever being developed, we're more than willing to entertain that. The one little caveat to that I think needs to be considered, and that is we know there's a shortage of recreational lands around here for park and recs. And perhaps there's a piece of that might be carved out that could be available for the park and recs for low impact, a ball field or soccer field or something of that sort that the kids in the community might be able to use. That seems like an idea that needs to be digested and discussed within the community. If it was decided that's an appropriate use, we will carve out a piece of that land and make it available for that.
Okay, we're going to be breaking pretty soon and going to our next segment, and in that segment we're going to be getting very specific about a lot of the projects you're working on. But if you could, and I don't know how much of a thumbnail sketch you can give us of this, what is East West's goal here? What is why Truckee, and what do you hope to see at the end of your development ladder?
Well, it's very interesting because our investment in this community right now is significant, much more than what we had planned on coming here. We have got a considerable financial involvement with the community here. We intend to be here a long time. We're not developers that come in, develop, and leave town. We will be here probably forever in some form or another. Certainly there's a development component, but there's an ongoing operation of all of our facilities and things. We will be hopefully a good neighbor and a good resident of this community for quite a period of time. Our thinking has evolved since we came here from looking strictly at Northstar, as I talked earlier, to being more of a destination resort community here. And we see some real opportunities to, I don't want to say put Truckee on the map necessarily, but really create an environment here that's attractive to not only the local residents, but quite frankly attractive to the destination guest, which we hope to be able to attract. And that's kind of the mix of things. We look at several discrete communities overlaid with a recreational package that includes our lake property, Coyote Moon, the other potential 2 golf courses, some of the recreational facilities out at the Woodlands or the old Featherstone project, and then couple that with the recreational opportunities out at Northstar, really makes a very competitive and very attractive package.
All right. Well, thank you for that, that thumbnail sketch. We will be back in just a minute. Again, we're talking with East West Partners, Roger Lessman, and we'll be back in just a minute. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. We're talking about East West Partners, and our guest on today's show is Roger Lessman. Roger, when we broke, we were talking about the culture of East West, and we've got a lot of developments to talk about, but I don't want to rob you of that opportunity.
Sure, great. East West is a very unique company. We operate a lot differently than most companies. We're kind of a collection of partnerships. Most of us are partners in the organization in some form or another. We kind of have a number of I guess guiding principles, if you will, that we operate under, and probably the first and most important is we value our employees very highly. We spend a lot of time on personal development, training, making sure that people really fit our culture, that they have significant amount of self-initiative, but they also got to have a lot of integrity, personal integrity, and we put a great value in that, and we work hard with our employees to make sure that they respect their peers and things within the company. We also like to develop quality products. We spend a considerable amount of time on designing products, how they're ultimately developed or how they're operated, to make sure that they're absolutely at the peak of quality. Our people that work with us in those projects, whether architects or engineers, are generally the top of the heap. We actually have a number of world-class architects working on our project at Northstar right now, and those helping us plan PC2 and Featherstone, or the Woodlands and Meadowbrook. So we pay a lot of attention to quality. We also like to pay a lot of attention to the environment. We realize that a lot of our activities are impactive, and we do a number of things in that regards to try to mitigate that, and we're working on several things which are going to be very interesting, I think, for the community as we begin to roll those out. We're looking at establishing an organization here that's going to kind of be our environmental conscience as we go through this development that'll be in place into perpetuity here. It's a very unique model that we're putting in place over the next few months. Local decision making is a big issue for us. I think, as you know, most of us, or virtually all of us that work on a day-to-day basis on the projects here, live in the community. We make decisions here locally. We feel that we're in touch more with community desires and needs and issues here that we need to consider in our decision-making process. So we do not have a board of directors or an entity back in Beaver Creek that's making all these decisions that are made locally, and we move on.
So we give you enough rope to hang yourself.
Yeah, and there's a lot of risk in that, but there's we don't have much sniping within the company. I mean, we all make mistakes, we all make decisions in error sometimes, but there's never anybody there to try to pull the rug out from under you. Everybody realizes you make a mistake and you move on, and it's a very engaging kind of culture that exists from that standpoint. We also have a strong commitment to the community. We like to be a part of the community. There's things that we can do to help things support various organizations financially. We also generally active on a personal basis within various civic organizations within the community, and we hope to be expanding some of that with all of our folks. We also try to implement a cutting-edge technology in all of our developments and our operations. An example of that is the program I just described at Eagle Ranch. It's clearly a state-of-the-art system right now in Colorado, and we are always constantly looking to how we can improve our developments and improve our operations. We also pay a lot of attention to learning and trying to understand what the market demands. A lot of people in our business get guilty of designing what we like, and we find out that the market's not there. So we spend a lot of time understanding what the market really wants and where we think it's going, what it demands, and try to respond to that accordingly. And also, I guess probably the last thing that we do, all of our decision-making process is very long-term. We're long-term players. As I mentioned, we're here in this community for a long period of time. We take a long view. We recognize in our business that there are cycles through this development business, and we're prepared to go through those cycles, and we make our decisions based on the life cycle of a project, which in this case is probably in excess of 20 years.
Yeah, I was thinking 30 or 40.
Yeah, it could well be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have a number of projects. We're going to be taking a look at those and showing folks some graphics. You mentioned something, I just wanted to ask you about that. The organization or group that will be your environmental conscience. Is that Truckee as a pilot program for that?
It is. It is. One of the things that we've actually been working on this for since we've been here, quite frankly, and we have decided that the Village project at Northstar is going to be a commitment to do a LEEDS program, which is in accordance with the Green Building Council, and there's a number of criteria that you have to meet to do that. One of the things that's unique about that is nobody's ever done a collection of buildings like that. In fact, we've been asked by the Green Building Council to be a part of a new committee that's going to set the standards for that. So we're going to have a pilot program going on out of Northstar. We want to overlay that on PC2 and Featherstone, or those Woodlands and Meadowbrook, projects again. I keep saying those.
It would be that project at Highway 80 and 89.
Yeah, there you go. But we want to put an organization in place. In fact, we've had discussions with a number of people that are really considered to be state-of-the-art kind of environmental people that are looking at that can help us put together that organization and kind of put some meat on the bones. We're going to fund that with a 0.25% transfer tax on every real estate transaction we make here, starting from day one. So that organization will be self-sustaining, and it's going to do a variety of things. We've talked about maybe in a year or two when we get up on our feet and running here, that there may be actually a green development conference here in the community that's done on an annual basis that we think we'll have a very interesting program developed, showcasing again and modeling what we're doing here in the Martis Valley. So.
Sounds great. Let's get to the Martis Valley. There's a number of developments you're involved in, and we may not have time to get to all of them. So I think we should start with the really the head project, the Northstar project.
Sure.
This Northstar project entails really revamping the entire village area and creating a whole new village in the Northstar ski area. Let's start off with some of the maps. I know we've got some graphics we can pull up and show folks. And this first map is an overhead. And try to orient people. I think the top of the screen would be the southern
The top of the screen is towards the lake.
Is towards Lake Tahoe.
The bottom of the screen, where the yellow areas are more towards Truckee.
More towards Martis
yeah,
Valley
right.
and Truckee.
And,
Okay.
and 267 runs off to the, I guess as you're viewing this, the left-hand side. You can see it very, very faintly there.
So briefly walk us through
Sure.
this map.
And this map is actually a map that was developed by Booth Creek and their mountain planners, but it shows the existing ski area, and it's a little bit hard to see, I apologize for that, is the white areas, the existing ski runs. There's solid lines on there that represent existing ski lifts, and the colored areas are new added ski runs. And you can see there's
Is that all going towards Sawtooth Ridge then?
most of it's going towards Sawtooth. There's a little bit to the east of the existing ski area.
I'm excited. There's some good skiing back there.
There's some terrific skiing back there, and you can't see it again too well on this, but you know, Northstar has had a little bit of a knock of not having enough really good quality high-end skiing, although with North Lookout that's really
Sure.
changed this last year. It's
That's right.
terrific skiing.
That's right.
But this is aimed at getting more of the upper advanced, upper intermediate, I should say, and advanced skiing terrain open, and it'll be terrific. We're never going to compete with those ski areas that are considered to be more of the extreme ski areas like some of our neighbors, but it's going to provide good quality family type skiing, which is key to us.
That looks like more than double your acreage right now.
It's just a little bit more than double, right?
But of course, most of that area is already owned by.
It's all owned. In fact,
Booth
that
Creek
map,
or-
the topo areas that you saw outlined on the map, is 8,000 plus acres that Booth Creek owns out there, and it's all private land. There is no public lands involved in that. And it's also land that has been heavily logged over the years. I mean, it was logged way back in the 100 years ago.
The
when trains
fiberboard freeway
exactly,
runs through
exactly,
there. Sure,
exactly.
of course,
So
it's land that folks are familiar with. Well, let's go to our next graphic because this shows the village, and this is an eagle's eye or a satellite's eye view looking straight down at the new village complex.
that's correct. And if you look at the bottom portion of the screen, you'll see a little bit of a parking lot at the bottom screen, and then just up from that, there's two white buildings, and those are the existing buildings. The one on the left is the Northstar Club, the one on the right is the village condo building, and then the new village starts in front of that and progresses south towards the ski slopes. And you can see that this is a series of 6 buildings. There's roughly 150 whole ownership units, a mix of 1, 2s, 3s, and 4 bedrooms, and about 50 plus fractional and a vacation club project in the building that's on the left-hand side. There's also a very high-end, very attractive spa facility, a 2-level spa. Has the 24, 25 treatment rooms and an exercise facility, very similar to the one we've done in Beaver Creek a few years ago.
And the pavilion towards the top center
Ice
of the
skating
screen?
rink, year-round
Okay.
ice skating rink that
Okay.
will be open to the public. It's refrigerated, and we've just recently started into a design process that's pretty unique where we're going to be able to integrate the air handling facilities within the buildings, within the ice skating rink, with maybe some of the air compressors for the snowmaking system, so that it becomes an integrated system and a little bit more energy efficient. So it's very unique.
Well, let's waltz through the next series of graphics so we can show folks the idea of what you have there. Here, I see the ice skating rink towards the left of the
Yes,
screen.
this is actually looking. You're kind of there's a ski slope above us in the background here that we're down in a mall area below that,
Okay.
and you're looking looking north across the ice skating rink. There's a covering on it, and the idea there is that we protect the ice from potential rain in the wintertime and certainly sun in the summertime, very similar to what they do in Sun Valley at Elkhorn, and we hope to have a very successful skating program there.
Okay, and then we have 2 more graphics if we can just run through those.
Yes, this is the entrance into Northstar,
Okay.
and this is a little bit further south again than the existing entrance, but you would get off. There's a turnaround in the foreground here for car drop-offs, and then you would walk through the little porte-cochere into the village, and that is a very good representation of the kind of architectural style that we hope to put in place here, which is a mix of wood, rough-sawn timbers, and rock type architecture.
And then this would be really the village.
Yes, this is actually down in the village itself. We're a little bit east of the ice skating rink. The ice skating rink is directly behind us, and this is looking into the new gondola facility. The gondola building gets moved up the mountain about 80, 85 feet, and then gets integrated into the village, and that's actually looking at the gondola building across the mall area.
Okay, Roger, as you know, there are a number of developments going in right now. Heavenly, Squaw Valley are all doing sort of a new commercial village renaissance.
Yes.
How does East-West compete, or does East-West need to compete with that? What's the friction or what's the compatibility between these new developments?
You bet. It's a great question, and I think probably the biggest characterization is looking between the North Lake and the South Lake. There's clearly a different character in the development that's going on at South Lake. It's certainly gaming oriented with the involvement of the casinos down there and that redevelopment activity, and it has a specific market and a focus, I think, that is completely different from ours.
The casino focus.
Casino focus. Not
Okay.
saying that's bad, but it's
Right.
just a different business, and it's not destination resort businesses is what we're after. The Inter-West project at Squaw is a very nice project. Those guys do a great job. It'll be a good project when they have it finished, but they do not have the ability to integrate all the things that we have put in place here, mainly the golf, the access to the lake, some on-mountain dining facilities, a variety of those kind of recreational amenities that really separate us and our projects in the Martis Valley, if you will, from the competition. It's very unique. And quite frankly, we don't know any place in the country where this kind of thing and the mix of recreational amenities that we've gotten put together is available in any kind of a resort
And in your
setting.
marketing, I'm sure you'll be pointing
Yes.
out those
Yeah,
differences.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I want to give some contact information. We just have a couple of minutes left.
Sure.
I want to make sure if people have questions about East West, want to contact Roger Lessman or the staff, the local telephone number is 587-2222. You do have an office in downtown Truckee in
Yes.
the new, it's not called the Small Mall anymore. I don't want to give it the wrong name, but in,
Next to the train store.
Next to the train store in historic downtown Truckee. You can also contact them or get information about East West Partners at ewpartners.com, or you can find out more about the Northstar Village at northstarvillage.com. It's fairly easy. Also, there's an information booth in the village at
That's
Northstar,
correct.
and that's
Yes.
open on the weekends.
Open on weekends, just opened a few weeks ago.
Okay. We have a minute, Roger, and that's all we have left. Do you have anything that you want to say in the next 45 seconds or
Well,
so?
we covered a lot of territory, but I would like to say that we're working hard to try to be a part of the community here, and we are hoping that over a period of time that we can really demonstrate that we're going to be good neighbors and good citizens here in the town of Truckee as well as the Martis Valley. And we would invite anybody that in the community that wants to share some input to us to stop by the office and chat with us. We're open and be glad to talk with anybody that wants to stop by.
Great. Roger, thank you very much. Thank you for being on the show
You're
and
welcome.
sharing with us everything
Thanks for
that
having
East
us.
West is doing.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for joining us on this Truckee Talks, and we'll see you next time.